In the heart of Africa's mist-laced wetlands, a prehistoric phantom stands frozen. It is a creature that seems to have stepped out of a nightmare from the age of dinosaurs. It doesn't sing, it doesn't fly in flocks, it simply waits, and when it finally moves, a life is about to end. What is this enigmatic creature that defies the rules of modern evolution? Known scientifically as Balaniceps rex, which translates to the whale-headed king, the shoebill stork is a biological enigma. Standing over 4 feet tall, this avian giant dominates the swamps of East and Central Africa, with a presence that feels ancient. For centuries, it remained a ghost to the Western world, uncatalogued until the mid-19th century because of its incredible ability to avoid human contact. It is the sole member of its genus, a lonely survivor of a lineage that stretches back millions of years. While it shares some traits with storks, it is actually more closely related to pelicans and herons, making it a misplaced relic in our modern world. But its name doesn't come from its history. It comes from the lethal weapon attached to its face. Why is its beak considered one of the most terrifying tools in nature? The shoebill's defining feature is its massive shoe-shaped bill, measuring up to 9 inches long and 5 inches wide. This isn't just a clumsy beak, it is a specialized killing machine with razor-sharp edges capable of decapitating prey. At the very tip lies a sharp, curved hook, a biological barb used to pierce and grip slippery victims. The Arabs called it Abu Markab, or father of a slipper. But there is nothing domestic about this tool. It is strong enough to crush the scales of a lungfish or the skull of a monitor lizard with a single, brutal clamp. If you think the beak is scary, wait until you hear the sound of it firing like a weapon of war. Does this bird truly produce a sound that mimics a machine gun? When the shoebill finally breaks its silence, it doesn't sing a melody, it performs a terrifying ritual called bill clattering. By vibrating its throat and slamming its upper and lower mandibles together, it creates a loud, hollow, rattling sound that echoes across the swamp like a machine gun firing. This chilling noise is used for greeting mates or defending its vast territory. To an unsuspecting traveler in the dark, it sounds like an approaching militia rather than a bird. It is a sound that has signaled the end for countless creatures in the marshes for millennia. Standing at human height, this bird doesn't just look at you, it judges you. How does its massive size contribute to its role as a swamp apex predator? Towering at nearly 5 feet tall, the shoebill can look a grown man in the eye. Despite its height, it is a master of weight distribution. Weighing only about 11 to 15 pounds, its wingspan is even more imposing, stretching up to 8.5 feet, allowing it to glide over the wetlands like a prehistoric shadow. Its long, dark legs are built for stability, ending in toes that reach 18 centimeters to help it balance on floating mats of vegetation. This size allows it to survey the swamp from a vantage point few other birds possess, making it the undisputed king of the reeds. But it's those unblinking golden eyes that hold a secret stare of death. What is the truth behind the shoebill's legendary death stare? The shoebill is famous for its death stare, a cold, unblinking gaze from its large yellowish eyes. Because of its binocular vision, it holds its head and bill vertically downward to focus on prey, giving it a perpetually calculating and menacing look. It can stand perfectly still for over 5 hours without a single flinch, resembling a weathered statue more than a living anima. This behavior isn't just for show, it's a strategic choice to remain invisible to its prey. When you look into the eyes of a shoebill, you aren't seeing curiosity. You are seeing the patient calculation of a professional assassin. This bird doesn't hunt by chasing, it hunts by becoming a ghost. What is the secret behind its statue-like hunting technique? The shoebill's hunting style is a masterclass in patience, earning it the nickname the statue bird. It spends hours submerged up to its waist or standing on floating vegetation, completely motionless. It waits for the exact moment when the water ripples, indicating a fish has surfaced for air. By staying still, it becomes part of the scenery, undetected by the fish, frogs, and snakes below. This extreme endurance allows it to conserve energy while waiting for a meal to literally swim into its strike zone. It is a silent ritual where time seems to stop until the sudden, violent climax. When the silence breaks, it's not a peck, it's a total collapse. What is the collapse, and why is it so deadly? When the shoebill finally strikes, it performs a move scientists call the collapse. The bird launches its entire 5-foot body forward and downward with lightning speed, its massive bill wide open. It literally falls onto its prey, engulfing the target along with water, mud, and vegetation in one massive scoop. After the strike, it must regain its balance before it can move again, often shaking its head to spill out the unwanted debris while keeping the prey trapped inside. It is a high-stakes, all-or-nothing maneuver that rarely misses its mark, and its favorite meal is something most animals are terrified to even look at. Is it true that this bird hunts and eats baby crocodiles? While its staple diet consists of lungfish and catfish, the shoebill is a fearless carnivore that doesn't hesitate to hunt apex predators in the making. It regularly stalks and consumes Nile monitor lizards, water snakes, and most famously, baby crocodiles. The bird's size and power allow it to overpower young reptiles before they grow large enough to defend themselves. It waits for the perfect moment when the mother crocodile is away, then strikes with its sharp-edged bill to secure a high-protein meal. In the swamp, the silent reaper ensures that even crocodiles have something to fear, but it doesn't just swallow its prey whole. It performs a brutal ritual first. Why does the shoebill decapitate its prey before eating? The shoebill is a clean killer. Once it has trapped a lungfish or a baby crocodile in its bill, it uses the razor-sharp edges of its mandibles to decapitate the prey. This behavior serves two purposes. It neutralizes any dangerous fangs or claws and makes the large prey easier to swallow. The bird will swing its massive head back and forth, slicing through the neck of its victim with surgical precision. Only after the head is removed will the shoebill swallow the rest of the body whole. It is a cold, efficient method that has made it one of the most successful hunters in the African marsh. Even in the sweltering heat, this bird has a disgusting way to stay cool. How does it manage to survive the brutal heat of the African swamps? To survive the intense tropical sun, the shoebill employs a bizarre and somewhat repulsive cooling method called urohydrosis. The bird deliberately defecates on its own legs. Since bird droppings are mostly liquid, the heat from the warm blood in its legs causes the waste to evaporate, which in turn cools the blood circulating through its body. This allows the death pelican to maintain its statue-like vigil for hours under the sun without overheating. Additionally, they use gular fluttering, a form of panting, to further regulate their temperature while they wait for their next victim. But the most disturbing part of its life isn't how it stays cool. It's what happens inside the nest. What dark secret lies within the shoebill's floating nest? The shoebill builds its future on top of the water, creating a massive floating platform of reeds and grass that can span 3 feet across. While the female typically lays 2 to 3 eggs, the reality of what happens next is a display of nature's most ruthless side. Only one chick usually survives to adulthood. From the moment they hatch, the nest becomes a battlefield. The older, larger chick, born just a few days earlier, will begin a violent rivalry with its younger sibling, drawing blood and driving it to the edge of the nest. It is a silent, desperate struggle for survival where only the strongest can claim the parents' attention. And the parents? They don't just watch, they choose a side. Why do shoebill parents allow their own chicks to kill each other? In the world of the shoebill, siblicide is a survival strategy, not a tragedy. The parents intentionally focus all their resources on the strongest chick, often the firstborn. If the older chick is healthy, the mother will ignore the cries of the younger one, leaving it to die from wounds, hunger, or the scorching heat. They will provide water and shade only to the dominant sibling, treating the second chick merely as a backup in case the first one doesn't survive. This harsh biological pragmatism ensures that at least one strong individual survives to carry on the lineage in a world where food can be scarce. After surviving this brutal beginning, the winner faces a long, lonely life. How long can this silent reaper roam the swamps of Africa? If a shoebill survives the trials of the nest, it can live an incredibly long life, often reaching 35 to 36 years in the wild. This longevity is rare for birds of its size and is a testament to its mastery of its environment. They take their time to grow, reaching sexual maturity only at around 3 years of age. Throughout these 3 decades, the bird remains a solitary figure, rarely interacting with others of its kind except to mate. It is a life of quiet endurance, a shadow that persists in the marshlands for decades without ever needing an audience. It commands a kingdom of silence, but it is a kingdom that is shrinking. Why is the shoebill considered the most solitary bird on the planet? Shoebills are fiercely territorial and deeply antisocial. They command vast stretches of swamp, often up to 3 square kilometers, and show zero tolerance for intruders, including other shoebills. Even breeding pairs often forage on opposite sides of their territory to avoid each other. They do not fly in flocks or roost together. They are the ultimate loners of the avian world. This solitude is a necessity for their hunting style, as any movement or noise from another bird could spook the lungfish they have spent hours waiting for. Their ability to hide in plain sight is so great that they were a myth for centuries. How did such a massive bird remain a ghost to scientists until 1850? Despite its height and unique appearance, the shoebill managed to avoid being cataloged by Western scientists until 1850. This is a testament to its natural ability to disappear into the most inaccessible parts of the African wetlands. They live in deep, dense marshes of papyrus and reeds where humans rarely venture. Their gray plumage blends perfectly with the shadows and the mud, and their tendency to remain motionless for hours makes them nearly invisible even from a short distance. For thousands of years, they were known only to local tribes and the ancient Egyptians, who featured them in their art as symbols of mystery. But in some cultures, seeing this ghost is a sign of a curse. Why do some local cultures fear the shoebill as a bringer of bad luck? In various parts of Africa, the shoebill is surrounded by dark superstitions. Many local fishermen believe that seeing a shoebill along the shore is a bad omen that will bring bad luck to their catch for the day. Some tribes even believe the bird brings bad luck to the entire land and will purposely kill them to cleanse the area of the omen. This fear, combined with its prehistoric and death-like appearance, has made the shoebill a target of persecution in the very lands it calls home. It is a tragic irony that a bird so vital to the ecosystem is feared as a curse. Is it really a stork or something far more ancient? For years, the shoebill was called a stork because of its long legs and height, but modern DNA analysis has revealed a different truth. It is actually more closely related to pelicans and herons. It is a classic example of convergent evolution, where it developed stork-like features because of its environment, but its internal biology tells the story of a different lineage. It is so unique that it is classified in its own family, Balaenicipitidae, and its own order, Balaenicipitiformes. It stands alone on its evolutionary branch, a one-of-a-kind survivor with no close living relatives. To hunt, it doesn't just use its eyes, it uses a hidden hippo alliance. How do hippos unintentionally help the shoebill hunt? The shoebill is a strategic opportunist that often enlists the help of the swamp's most dangerous mammal, the hippopotamus. As hippos wade through the thick mud and papyrus, they stir up the water and force air-breathing fish like lungfish to move or come to the surface. The shoebill waits nearby, a silent shadow, taking advantage of the chaos created by the hippo's massive footsteps. But even this master of the swamp is losing the battle against time. Why are there fewer than 5,000 of these masters left in the wild? Today, the shoebill is classified as a vulnerable species, with estimates suggesting fewer than 5,000 remain. Their greatest threat isn't a predator, but the destruction of their habitat. Swamps and marshes are being drained for agriculture, housing, and dams, leaving the whale-headed king with nowhere to stand. Additionally, they are victims of the illegal exotic pet trade, where a single bird can sell for up to $20,000 to wealthy collectors. Every egg stolen or marsh drained is a step closer to the extinction of this prehistoric marvel. Can we save the silent reaper before it becomes a legend once more? What will the world lose if the shoebill disappears forever? If the shoebill vanishes, we lose more than just a bizarre-looking bird. We lose a living connection to the prehistoric past. As a top predator, it maintains the balance of the African wetlands, keeping populations of lungfish and reptiles in check. But beyond ecology, the shoebill represents the beauty of the strange and the value of silence in a world that never stops screaming. It is a symbol of patience, endurance, and the mysteries that still exist in the hidden corners of our planet. To save the shoebill is to preserve the stillness of the marsh and the ancient rhythms of life itself.